2022. This is the Coffee with the Mayor. We're at the Senior Center again today, so thank you again for having us. And I'll walk through a few slides and answer any questions as they come along. The first slide I have here is 51 West project, and if you've been out near Eggleston's Woods or Stoughton Lumber, you probably see there's a lot of activity going on right now. And they've been focusing on the east side of the highway, putting in stormwater, water mains, and sanitary sewer lines. And the hope is to start pouring some cement here in the next month or so for the apartment complexes that are here in the Brown. And that's kind of the first phase of that section of the development. And then there also will be doing some preparation work on the west side in anticipation of future development there as well. Had a few questions lately about the area as you get closer on the west side, going up toward Highway 51 and B on the corner there. And what I've been told is they are leveling the road and bringing in, or leveling the site there and actually bringing in some of the fill from the construction they're doing in this particular area here and moving the dirt up there in order to get the proper elevation that the DOT needs to put in a future roundabout at Highway B. So that's kind of what's going on out there. It's very expensive, especially now with gas prices the way they are, to haul soil off-site. So a lot of the developers will team up and with themselves and with the DOT and try to minimize how far they have to travel with the soil. So they're removing some of it from this 51 West project area out toward Highway B. So that's what's going on out there. Here's a picture here of the groundbreaking that we had last week. And this is for the Lakestone Apartments that they're going to put, and that was in the Brown on the earlier slide. And they're the same developers that built the apartments out in Nordic Ridge. And then they're also working on a large project in Oregon right now. As you know, there's 3 roundabouts going in, and the DOT, as far as I know, is on schedule. They anticipate having everything completed by October. So it's been a little bit disruptive, but I think people are figuring out how to get around, and as much as they can, they've been trying to leave the roads open. I know Roby has been one of the biggest challenges over by the Quick Trip and Deeks there and Culvers to get in and out of there, but I think people are still finding their way there, and we look forward to having these 3 roundabouts completed. This is a slide here. This is Kettle Park West. Phase 2 is a residential housing, and previously Lennar, which is the largest home builder in the United States, had purchased some of these northern lots here. I think there's about 28 of them here, and we're being told that they're going to be pulling building permits here, hopefully by the end of the month, to start those units. And in the meantime, in the yellow here, we have what we call these alley lots. And these are kind of like Meridian homes that you might see in other communities. And Lennar has recently had us go through the process of changing some of the setbacks of the driveways in the back into the alley so they could have a larger front yard to accommodate porches. And that was one of the contingencies on their offer to purchase. So we're hoping that they'll be closing on the land for these alley lots and start building those by the end of the year. We feel those homes will be more affordable than some of the other ones that are being built right now. Whatever affordable is right now, obviously the prices of everything have gone up, but these are smaller lots and smaller 2-story homes. So we're anticipating that they may get started on them as well this year. This one here is Eldon Homes. They're calling it Magnolia Springs, and this is what we would call the old Tigan Farm down on 4th Street and Ocker Road and Taylor Lane, where it all kind of connects there. And this property has already been annexed, and then we're working through what we call an urban service area amendment. And what that is a process where we have to apply the city applies on behalf of the developer to the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, and they approve the stormwater management plan to make sure that there isn't any flooding and everything is designed according to their standards, which right now would accommodate a 200-year flood. So this is going through the Plan Commission next Monday night, and eventually it'll get to the City Council, and then ultimately it'll go to the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission for their approval. So you can see this one here has a total of 89 lots, 118 units. So you can see the light yellow are single-family homes, and then the orange would be duplexes, and then there's some stormwater ponds, there's a natural wetland which is inside where the park's going to be, and then the black would be the trail system. And what we've been trying to do is when we do these new developments, have the trail system connect to existing and future trail systems. So we run this through the Park and Recreation Committee, as well as the Plan Commission, and then city staff also gets together to address any potential issues we may have trying to service these types of developments. And really what we're looking for is to make sure when we have areas like this little eyebrow here on the right here that our fire and EMS can get in and out of there, as well as our snow plows, and then also how we can maintain the parks and then this green space here efficiently. So we're going through that process right now, and ultimately if the Capital Regional Area Planning Commission approves this, then we go through this platting process where we would approve the lots as they're designed. Now, this is still fairly early in the process, so it could change a little bit, but the biggest thing they're trying to get to is to make sure that based on the number of units there, the stormwater management plan is sized appropriately. This one here, this is the work that's being done on the riverfront, and you can see they've been doing some riverbank restoration. They're out there this morning, they're doing some plantings on there, some native prairie grasses along the edge there. And then you can see the cement here, that's the bridge abutment. We're hoping the bridge will go in yet here in July. We'll see how that goes. And they've also put in some of the stormwater drains that will be used for the Kurt Brinks project. We're still working through with the DNR for the material maintenance plan, and what they had us do is work with our consultants to have two separate plans, one for the area where the Public Works garage was, because there's some concern about some of the soil contamination there, and then a separate plan for the rest of the site. The rest of the site really isn't as contaminated as that area where the Public Works garage was, and the reason we're concerned there is that back in the day when they built wagons, they burned coal there, and there's a material that comes off of that, they call it coal tar, and that's basically in the soil there between where the Public Works garage was and the river. So the material maintenance plan is basically a plan that is put together so as we're digging and doing the development here, we know what we're going to do with the soil, what landfill it'll go to, and what we can reuse in a different area on site. And one of the questions we get is, well, why didn't you test the soil earlier? We actually did test some areas earlier, but you really can't test it all until you have a design of the site, because you need to understand what areas will be parking lots, for example, because in those areas you can simply usually just cap it by putting the parking lot there. Whereas in other areas where maybe there's underground parking, you're going to be digging deeper, so you have potential to come into different soil contamination there. So you wouldn't just test the whole entire site and go down 30 to 40 feet in every single part of the site, because it wouldn't be cost effective to do that. So we work with True North Consulting, and they're experts on doing these material maintenance plans and pulling the contaminations. The other thing they're doing is They're also getting updated numbers because we know that some of the soil in the plan is going to be hauled off-site, and we're trying to understand what the costs are going to be because the fuel prices have gone up, and some landfills can only accommodate so much of the soil, so we also need to understand where the soil is going to go when we get into the construction phase. So we anticipate that our consultant from True North Consulting will be at the City Council meeting on July 26th to give us an update of where he believes that DNR is in the process of approving that plan and what the cost will be for the soil that needs to be removed or redistributed on the site. Next slide, this is, I believe this was an old liquor store down on 6th Street, and we have a proposal that'll be at the Plan Commission Monday night to have a fitness center here. So I'm kind of just learning a little bit about that and interested to see what they do there. But we believe that there's enough parking there, and the building has been really underused for many years, so it'd be nice to see it repurposed. Several events coming up. We just completed the fair in the last week, as well as the Catfish River Fest. Some of the other things that we're going to be doing, starting on July 15th, we are going to be having movies in the park every other Friday, and you'll be able to get a list of movies on our website or on social media. And these are all family-friendly movies. They're going to be held at Nordic Ridge, and I think they're shooting to start them at 8:30. They're working, the Park and Rec Department is working with the library, so the movies typically last an hour, hour and a half, and the parks close at 10 o'clock, so we have to start them early enough in order to get in and out of the park, but yet have it be dark enough where you can see the movies. And we've purchased an inflatable projector screen to show the movies on, and I guess it's pretty impressive. I haven't seen it firsthand yet. So look for the movies. We think these will be good family-friendly events to go to. Another thing that we're working on are elections. There's a primary in August, and in the primary we're going to be debuting what they call Badger Books. And Badger Books, really, you don't vote on them or anything like that. It's basically a computer that you would do things like registering people when they come in, verifying kind of, right now they use the books that they go through when you come to the polls, and this will create some efficiencies as you go to the polls. So many of the volunteers have been coming to City Hall to get training on these, and we have them set up so if any members of the community want to come in beforehand, they can see how these things operate, and our clerks are more than happy to show you how they work. They're really excited about having these in there because it will be much more efficient, and we won't have to deal with all the paper. But as I said, they're not connected to the internet, and they're not voting machines or anything like that. They're basically for registering people as they come in to vote. 4th of July, as you know, the fireworks were canceled. They'll be rescheduled for Saturday night, which is tomorrow, at 9:30. They'll be shot off on the redevelopment site, which is the area I showed you earlier. I can go back to the slide here. So they'll be shot off on the other side of the river here. So if you're at Man Park in the grandstands, you'll be able to have a great view. Or if you're at Veterans Park, you'll have a nice view from there. And if you're at Gazebo Music, which is going to be live music tomorrow night, you'll be able to see the fireworks there, as well as many other places where throughout the city you'll be able to see the fireworks. So we're happy that the vendor was flexible enough to work with us to get it rescheduled, and it looks like the forecast is going to be good. The other thing we have going on is we had a swearing in this morning. So as we speak right now, we actually have 2 police chiefs. We have the incoming interim police chief, Dan Jenks, has been sworn in, and then the outgoing police chief, Greg Leck, is retiring, and his retirement will be effective at the end of the day today. So we look forward to having Dan serve as our interim police chief, and we thank Chief Leck for his many years of law enforcement. I believe I heard 44 years of law enforcement, many of them at Stoughton as well as McFarland. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing that it's great to see somebody be able to retire on their terms. It's also sad to see somebody go, especially somebody with so much knowledge and experience as Chief Leck, and he's been great to work with. And I know he's trying to share as much information with us as he can before he leaves. So we wish him well, and we know he'll enjoy himself as he's out there fishing. And at this point, I would entertain any questions. Any questions about anything today? All right, well, that's kind of a quick summary of what's going on now. I appreciate you tuning in and coming here to see Coffee with the Mayor. Next month, in August, you can look for the postings. I'm expected to have a couple guests. The new superintendent from the school district is scheduled to be here, as well as somebody from Stoughton Health and the Chamber of Commerce. So we look forward to seeing you again in August. So thank you very much for being here.